Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of WeebUwUs podcast. I am your host today, Emil, and I am joined by our usual trio here with the boys, Weeb Commander-in-Chief, Chavez,
Yes, sir.
disciple of Aqua, the Archbishop, and our local Steph, Ryan.
Ohio.
So today we thought we would actually talk about, we've been talking about like the anime, of what we like watched when we were growing up. But today we kind of want to do a little twist. We're going to bring it to the other side of things. So today we're talking about our mangas, our life novels, and our webcomics. Now we're a little different. We like to call our mangas mangoes, just to kind of make fun of that the whole culture. Mango, is it a manga? Is it a manga? So if you guys aren't familiar, so webcomics, they're kind of from Korea, like manhwa, or like, the Korean webtoons. So that's kind of more where that's known from. And then obviously you have your written literature of your light novels. So that a lot of those could have been. What do you guys have anything in specific that was kind of big? Like light novel?
Like, in what way?
Like kind of like a known like art. I guess like something like the Monogatari series. Like that's a well-known anime, but that started from a light novel. Or Konosuba, right? Was Konosuba?
Yeah.
Konosuba as well.
Konosuba was a light novel, and then there's also like, I mean, I'll get into that when we talk about light novels. But yeah, like Konosuba, my literal favorite anime ever, is based
So
off a light novel.
the key distinction of light novels: if the title is ridiculously long, that's the big giveaway that the source material was a light novel. And then obviously we have our fan favorite, kind of like the original, the manga, kind of where it all kind of started, where people got their inspiration for like current stories and everything.
The humble manga.
Yep.
Yeah. So today, I think with how the current culture is, I think we should start off talking about light novels, actually, or not light novels. Sorry, webcomics. It's kind of like the new forefront of where adaptations are coming from anime, and then it's like a booming culture. It's kind of unique because you have your not only from like Korea, you have like your artists striving through webtoons and they're blowing up, but it's kind of like people posting up their own individual stories. So people like from our previous episode, like our friend Wally, like someone like him could go up to like webtoons and like publish his work like as a weekly episodic thing, and that's kind of been like the current trend of like what's kind of popular. And then with that, actually, so do you guys have any webtoons or webcomics you've been kind of keeping up? I know there's one me and Chavez have been like keeping up with, and we think it's probably like the best webcomic out there right now because it's just phenomenal.
Yeah. First season it's just built different.
You guys are talking about Dilbert, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh no, my bad. Marmaduke. Yeah, dude, Marmaduke is old school. You know, he clearly dethroned Garfield in the early
I was gonna
stages
be
of
like
his career.
Garfield, Peanuts.
Yeah, he was like Garfield. He got too lazy. All the fucking lasagna and pasta and all that good shit.
He got too lazy. Dilbert and Dilbert, you know, later on in the chapters, they flipped that switch to ecchi, and I was like, whoa, it's a little spicy in here for old Dilbert. Nah,
Yeah.
I'm lying. So yeah, I'm new, and I'm just kind of dipping my feet into the world/realm that is webcomics. You know, I have really just started getting into them, like I said, and one of the ones that I am really deep into right now is 1HP Club. And the reason why I'm so deep into 1HP Club as my first ever like really webcomic I'm devoted to, is because I got cast in a comic dub of 1HP Club. So essentially, 1HP Club is about the author Elf Boy. It was playing a game, or I think they're still playing. I'm not exactly sure what's going on right now. like IRL, but this essentially the plot of the comic is the scenarios that played out when the author and their friends were playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons. You know, and Dungeons and Dragons is what we call a tabletop RPG. You know, there are games like Skyrim, Fallout, you know, like Pillars of Eternity, things like that, where like, you know, you build a character and, you know, you explore the world like that, and you explore the world with your keyboard and mouse, or, you know, your controller or whatever. Well, before all of that was around, like video games for RPGs, there were tabletop RPGs, or pen and paper RPGs as they call them. Dungeons and Dragons is one of those. Exactly. It was all about using your imagination in how you played. So essentially there's a dungeon master, that's somebody who essentially writes out an entire scenario with your characters using the rules and worlds in a giant codex book. And the codex book is essentially like has all the rules, all the lore for all the monsters, all the abilities, all the different races and stuff like that, and like, you know, different like pantheons of gods and things like that. That's, you know, the game master has to know all of these things. And then us, or, you know, the other people as the players, then create their characters, like, and say, oh, I want to be a paladin who is in service to the god Bahamut. And I, you know, really don't like dark, you know, like dark creatures of like darkness because when I was a kid, they, you know, my village was razed to the ground by demons. So there's like a, you know, you have a backstory. And so it goes that detailed, and you can make all of these like really cool, intricate details with your character. And then essentially what it is dungeon master, you know, like you sit there with your friends, the dungeon master's like, okay, they set the scene. They say, all right, you know, you wake up alone, unarmored in a, you know, in a dungeon cell. What do you do? And you just kind of go from there. So that immediately, I'm a huge tabletop RPG fan. I play a lot of Warhammer 40,000 tabletop RPGs like Death Watch, and I'm just getting into Wrath and Glory right now, which is their newest tabletop RPG. So I immediately jumped onto this. And then when I saw that there was an audition for a comic dub of it, I was like, I really need to jump in on this. And I got cast as the character Solaire, who is, he seems to be an elf. But he's a paladin. So that was already something for me that I just like jumped right on top of, and I was like, this is like really cool. And I'm really sticking with it. I don't want to gobble up the comic all at once because I really love the artwork. I love the characters. It's just really funny and well written and illustrated. So even though there's like, you know, a ton of chapters out there, I'm like really pacing myself because I don't want to come to the end of this journey just yet and then have to be like how I'm right now with WandaVision, like existing just to live until Friday to watch the next episode of WandaVision. I don't want to get like that with something else. So that's one that I'm watching right now, I'm reading right now. Another one that I read kind of like, I looked at it before this and I'm coming back to it now. It's called Let's Play.
Oh, dude, I love
Let's Play.
Yeah, Let's Play. That was the first ever, like, I saw an ad for it on Facebook once, and I was like,
Have you read it?
Kind of cool.
For Let's Play? No, actually I have not. I'm kind of curious now.
So the general premise, I think you guys would like it. So kind of the general premise, like, you know, without spoiling anything too detailed. So the main character, she's like the daughter of like a CEO of like a tech company, right, Brian?
For sure.
I don't think that's what she is. I think she's just.
Well,
she is. Yeah, I remember her dad's like super protective. I do remember that.
Her dad's like, it's a stereotypical super protective dad. But so the premise is that she is a indie
game journalism
game developer.
Oh, she's a developer.
She develops like video games, and then so what ends up happening? She makes this game called Ruminate. So it's kind of like those like adventure games, but the way you handle quests isn't your typical like, you know how you like in Skyrim or like other games, you could kind of like slice and dice your way through it if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you can just go full Unga. You're like, let me just power my way through everything.
Yeah, so
who needs speed checks?
My tactic is just hitting the attack.
attack, a speed run. So pretty much like if you played the game that way, it's like you fail at the game because like it's kind of like a puzzle game that makes you think, and you have to kind of think outside of the box to really progress the game and experience the full story. But the general premise is that there's this guy. He's essentially like a YouTuber.
So think like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye,
yeah, like that type of YouTuber, like you know, like the ones that review games, like they'll do Let's Plays. Yeah, and so he pretty much plays the game typical, like, you know, monkey brain, like it's like, oh yeah, let me just slice and dice, like play the game how it normally would. Obviously, like he didn't like sit down and learn how to play the game, so he pretty much left the review that the game was like hot garbage, like complete trash. So then pretty much what happens was that the character, his fans pretty much like
review bombed it.
Review bombed it. So they're all giving it like zeros or like ones. So kind of think of a website kind of like Newgrounds or like DeviantArt if DeviantArt was for like video games.
Yeah.
And pretty much once your score is lowered, like it is pretty much impossible for you to like release future games on there because your score is so bad. And it's just pretty much kind of just talking about like life stories of how like you meet like go through the YouTuber's life, the main character's life, and kind of how they're interacting with like all their friends because they're also part of like a guild and they play MMOs. So it's kind of like if it was like a life of like us, like our type of like style of people who are like into games, like games like tabletop games or even just like YouTube or that stream like world, like you kind of
Like on
see it
Twitch
from
or
like
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you kind of see it from two's perspective. You kind of see it from like the personality side of like an entertainer. You also see it as like a regular consumer, and then you also kind of see it in between as like someone who can like as a game developer. So it kind of like addresses like different aspects of just kind of how people interact with life.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And it yeah, I think I pretty much covered it. Damn. No, yeah, like it's just and it's like one of those like
It's like a lighthearted.
lighthearted slice of life, and that's kind of what I want. Like I'm absorbing now through my pores because these two got me hooked on quintessential quintuplets, and
We
before
talked
Yes,
about
that,
sir.
and before that, I had watched Rent a Girlfriend. I'm just like, man, I just love all these like romance things. Like, my God, like so this is like in that same realm of like yeah, ooh, like
I'm
in
there
that
with you
same
though, Chief.
right. That's kind of what we need now,
I'm
you
there
know.
with you.
At the recording time of this episode, we have almost been 1 year in a global pandemic / lockdown situation, so that's fun. So we all need something a little lighthearted.
Mhm.
So no Goblin Slayer for me. But like this also, I haven't like gotten far enough into it yet to like see. Oh, you know, it's labeled as a romance. Where does it come from? Is it the two of them? Maybe they'll like throw a curveball and it's not.
Oh, you're
But
in for a treat.
and see, and that's
That's
why I'm
all I have to
excited.
say.
See, and that's why I'm excited to like continue going with it. But those like, you know, for me, the web like web comics wise, those are like the two big ones and two only ones essentially that I am really hooked on right now. You know, I already know your guys's, so you guys go and talk more about as much as you want about Marmaduke. So
Good old
Actually,
Marmaduke.
I do want to go into a couple other webcomics before we go into the big one that me and
denied.
Chavez would go through. But I just want to. So Webtoon, like the Korean server, pretty much for webcomics, they have. That's also where Let's Play is actually being
Yep,
uploaded weekly.
and 1 HP Club as
And
well.
1 HP Club. There's a couple actually you would like to recommend. There's one called True Beauty. It's also another slice of life. This one pretty much follows like three main characters. So like this one girl, like average looks, like has acne, doesn't really like feel like she's popular, or she's kind of like on the weirder side because she likes like these like horror movies and like horror manga. So like the personality is like different. It's not your stereotypical like, oh, this is what girls should like they should be into like cosmetics, or they
Mm.
should be talking about boys, like kind of they display it that way, right?
Yeah, but she's over here, kind of just
Yeah,
popping off
she's
with the horror. Then.
yeah, so she's kind of like a weeb in a sense, and so like she didn't really have high self esteem, and then she kind of goes through the high school where she decides to like she kind of sees how makeup can like transform people.
Mhm.
So she pretty much learns makeup. She becomes really good at it. So it's kind of like in the beginning, she's living like two different lives. Like at home, she lives her kind of like, oh, like I'm a weeb, kind of like like Umaru-chan, how she's kind of
Oh.
like just at home, like watching like horror things or like eating snacks, drinking beer. Well, Umaru-chan doesn't drink beer; she's not old enough. But you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
she's
right?
not old enough. She's not old
Yeah,
enough.
Like she's kind of one of those like
she's
chill.
a degenerate at home, and she has like another personality.
Yeah,
when
and then
she's
she
at
has like
school.
a
When she leaves.
Instagram
Yeah.
like kind of thing. And then
Mm.
how you see her interactions with like these two different guys. One's also like the super like handsome looking guy who's also like kind of like a closet into like horror things, but he's more of a quiet type. And then you have like the typical like I'm a K-pop idol bad boy guy, but I'm really like a softie on the inside
Me,
type
of
of deal.
course.
So it's kind of like you follow their slice of life style where you kind of like just follow like their character development and how they're interacting and everything. It's actually really one of the more actually it's pretty up there on like the top of the recommended list right now on Webtoons. So it recently got a K drama adaptation, and people are saying the K drama adaptations is like phenomenal.
Oh,
K-dramas.
word.
So-
I
Okay.
love K-dramas.
So
Okay.
if you guys are looking for another like romancy slice of life thing, that is something I would recommend checking out. True Beauty. It's one of the ones I've like kept up with actually since it came out.
Damn, for sure, for sure. Damn, I have a feeling, Loki. We might have to retitle this as the romance, fucking, as like the romance episode or podcast or some shit.
It's because I don't watch romance. I only read about romance.
Damn, I see you. I see you.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Is there any other webtoons I'd like to? I don't want to go into like a super detailed. So I'll just name a couple out there that are pretty good. There's
Mhm,
Winter Moon. Just generally, it's kind of like a premise MMORPG style, like that kind of. Think about that kind of environment, and you're just following a set of characters, kind of playing the game and how they level up. Some people like really OP, and then like it's really comedic. The chapters are like super short too, so that's an
mhm.
easy read. You already talked about Let's Play, True Beauty, and there's one now I think it's called Unholy Blood. I've been watching, and it's like kind of what happens if like vampires kind of are introduced into modern society, and it kind of talks about how like humans are like protesting vampires because it becomes unsafe at night because you never know when vampires attack, and you kind of just follow the characters that way. So that one's actually a pretty cool one too.
Nice.
Really?
I'll check those out. I definitely, like I said, I only read two, so I'll definitely check those out.
Yeah, so after we finish this episode, I'll send you guys a whole bunch of like webtoons because like there's a whole bunch out there that like aside from like the big three, probably what people are calling them now, like Tower of God, Noblesse, God of High School. There's like a whole bunch on the website that once you kind of get into start reading like webcomics and webtoons, you're like, damn, you read them so quick because you read them on your phone or your computer, and you're just like, dang, I read this whole thing. It's been like a whole half a day now. I was like, oh, there goes my day.
Nope.
It's like, where did time go? It's like, oh yeah, I just consumed hella web
Oh,
comics.
oh
I
yeah, I'm
feel
in
it.
lockdown. That's where the time went.
Oh, true that.
All right, so man,
Sheesh.
you wanna go to the our favorite webcomic of like all time, and I don't think anyone can beat this webcomic, at least in my opinion.
I
That's
will,
right.
but
The Bible.
oh, Pog. I mean, that was, that shit was kind of hype. Shit was kind of hype. Like with like Daniel the Tiger or the
The
Lion, I should
Lions
say.
Den?
Daniel the Tiger. Wait, hold on. What?
Bro, that's like Edward and Elric, dude.
Edward and
Yeah,
Elric,
for real,
man.
right? But no. But before talking about that one, there were two that I remember growing up slash like reading in like late high school and like throughout
Oh, okay,
college.
okay.
For those, the two webcomics for me, it was like Girls of the Wild. So like super short synopsis for that one is like the premise was like it was revolving around an all girls school, right? However, this all girls school, like it mainly focused on like MMA. So it was like a bunch of like girls fighting.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yo, okay, this is different.
I
And
was
then
about
like,
to make a comment. I was like, that sounds like all the manga I read.
I know, right? It's like, oh, girls' school. What is this?
I
Wait,
was like,
where is this going? But so like the MC and the MC is kind of more typical slash kind of general MC that you kind of expect. So he's kind of also like has like not that great self esteem. He's growing up poor and he's taking care of like his two younger siblings. And he ends up going to this all girls school. Dude, he's a dude. He's not like cross dressing or anything like that. But he gets a scholarship to go there. Mind you, he's coming from like just a regular school, so he's not really well versed in MMA. But for that one, it was just like the premise was just so interesting, and the art was really really good, and the waifus were also really interesting too. Aside from that one, though, I would also recommend Real Life. So Real Life also ended up having an anime adaptation. Girls of the Wild did not, in case anyone was wondering. But for Real Life, I guess really quick again synopsis for that one. The MC, he's like 27, I think. He was like unemployed. He was kind of basically he was like, shit, lives are rough right now. He's like, I got no job. I'm just out here smoking cigs and just kind of trying to make ends meet. When all of a sudden he gets an opportunity to fucking as some decent amount of anime do. They're like, yo, you wanna run it back? You wanna run high school third year back? And he's like, yeah, sure, fuck it. What do I have to lose? And like just the story itself, though, like all the characters, kind of like the trials and tribulations he sees. Because like back then he was like, I'm not that great of a student. I kind of just did whatever, kind of like went with the flow, but like not the good flow.
yeah.
But it was just cool to see like just the kind of like the characters and all the personal growth they went through. And it was also kind of interesting too, because it'd be like, if right now at our current age, and we're kind of close too, because I want to say he was 27 at the start, and we're around that age frame too. So it's like, how interesting or how fucking bizarre would it be to transport back to like junior/senior year of high school, and running it back? Like, what the fuck? What kind of like what? Like the shit we'd have to relearn or have to pretend to actually know. It's like, what? What do you mean?
I probably still wouldn't know that shit.
Right?
I graduated high school dumb as hell.
I was like, damn, you talking about Ryan right now?
Yeah, man. The stuff you'd have to fake. Like I fake like I knew it when I was there.
Ryan's all sweating and shit. He's like, wait, what?
I can't go back. Do I gotta weigh the same weight I did when I was there too? Do I gotta double back on that?
Nah,
because I'd be the god of high school.
We don't have to run that back.
We don't have to use the new Common Core math and for multiplication and division. We had the real math.
Yeah, man. Like my phone calculator.
Yeah, the Common Core is sheesh, but we're not here to roast the Common Core. Well, yeah.
That's next episode.
We can throw a couple jabs at it. But for me, those would be those would be two of my recommendations. I would definitely recommend Girls Little Wild. Like I said, premise is pretty cool and the art's really nice, as per usual for webcomics and webtoons. Real Life is also really good. Same thing, a really cool premise. The cast is really what shines the most, in my opinion, along with like, again, the trials and tribulations they go through as a high school student, but as an adult inside the body and all that jazz. And then the hyped one, Solo Leveling. Ooh!
I get excited. Every chapter I read, Ryan. So think about this. So like, when you read something amazing or see something amazing, you just get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Every single chapter that they have released, I've gotten goosebumps. I'm just all like, oh shit! No. You just get so hyped. The art is beautifully done, and then just how like, because with like webtoons you like scroll down, or like webcomics.
Yeah.
So like the way the art just flows into each panel is like seamless, and it's just perfection.
Yeah, it's just stellar. Like, all right, fine, it's like another action fantasy. Everyone's like, come on, like again, it's like a tried and true genre, but just something about it is different. Like, I don't know.
Are they stronger than Kirito?
So, all right. So the way it is based, Ryan. So like, kind of how you're like bringing it back to how kind of you the one you were working on. Like, how you're kind of saying it was like kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Like that type of world.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of think about this as like, so in the world, say, right. So it takes place in like regular times. Well, I guess you would say modern era, right? So like Japan, US, Europe,
Korea, Europe.
So pretty much the thing about it, like modern society, except you kind of throw in the aspect of like hunters. So there's regular people, obviously. Then you have these guys who are hunters. So that's kind of like your D&D character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like everyone who becomes a hunter has like grades. So I think it's like rank F until like rank S. So rank F is clearly like you're weak, you're useless, you're probably going to die. To S, you're like hot commodity. Like people like they try to buy you out just because of, like the guaranteed like protection that you bring to like the world. That's just how OP you are.
What is like the enemy? Like what is?
They're kind of like your typical like so there are these warp gates. Oh. So so it's kind of the same thing, right? You have your weak gates, and then you have your like super ridiculous like S rank that can like destroy like the world type of thing.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the same I guess you could say like grading system, where it's like you have your E rank for like this shit's easy, easy clap. And then you have like your S rank where it's like, oh shit, unless you have like a balanced party, everyone knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
You walk in and I don't know if anyone's gonna be walking out if you're not prepared.
It's like me and I'm fighting hilly trolls, bro.
but that's kind of how like they power scale it. Like S rank, A rank gates is like, even if you have like the best of the best, there is still a chance that like everyone gets wiped out.
Yeah.
So pretty much what happens is like you have the main character, he is like he becomes a rank because he like he wants to make money for his family. His sister's in school, the mom is sick type of deal, like the typical
Yeah.
sad, like the sag, like
Yeah, Saji.
Yeah.
saggy feel for them type of moment.
It's the
So
Bible thump.
yeah,
His dad's also missing, by the way.
His what?
Gotta let him know his dad's also missing too. So it's like
yeah,
it's just him. It's his mom's fucking sick. It's just him, man.
all the cliche
Yeah.
being like feel bad for him, like that's it. So he's like a scrawny, like average dude, E rank. So pretty much he like becomes a hunter to make money because like hunters make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, in comparison to like the normal conventional jobs.
So he kind of starts off as like a mineral hunter or like a mineral gatherer. So like it's pretty
Mhm.
much like you have the main team. They'll deploy into the gate. They'll clear out the dungeon, and then you have like your afterwards because the gate doesn't close right away. It closes like a day or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's like a set time period where it'll stay open.
yeah, so then you have like these straggler, like the kind of the scrubs. They'll go in there. They're the ones who like mine all the essence, and then they'll bring it out because that's where like it's really valuable, and then yeah, all the treasure and everything.
Yeah, all the drops and stuff. So it's like I almost feel like is it Final Fantasy, the online one, where it's like, or is it like, or was it in like Monster Hunter where it's like you can like the drops can be picked up by your like pets, or am I tripping out?
No. In Monster Hunter World, at least, I haven't played the other ones. Your little Palico will run and like grab stuff off the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So you can think of that basically as what the MC is.
Yeah,
Like
and then kind of like,
basically they're just picking up everything.
and then like the
Gotcha.
dungeon gate, the gates. You could kind of think of it kind of like since all of us have watched Danmachi,
Yeah.
Hmm.
so just kind of think about like
levels.
yeah, or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they'll go to the levels, and then each level like obviously in Danmachi.
Oh no, I get you. It's like it's like any type of instance MMO RPG dungeonaire. It's like, okay, this is you're gonna enter the dungeon through this this level of monsters are behind this portal. Higher risk, higher reward kind of deal, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Gotcha.
and then it. Yeah, I guess we kind of have to talk about it, right? To kind of explain the premise.
Yeah, we kind of do. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap
Um,
my brain around like how deep like to not like say
so
spoilers, but whatever. Fuck it.
let's just say right. So there. Okay, so in the story, we're gonna phrase it, Ryan, as little as spoilers as possible for you, so you will have like a genuine great experience with it. So pretty much in a dungeon that he ends up joining because they needed like a last minute like replacement or something.
Yeah.
And he joins as like the bag holder.
Hmm.
Like he holds all the equipment for like the other people.
Oh, I just realized. You know what? From Danmachi as well. You remember? Oh my god, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name.
I know who you're talking about. Michelle Ruff voices her though, the little fox
Yeah,
girl.
The
the little fox girl. Yeah, this like where she's
The
what the hell is she
supporter or whatever.
upper?
the
Yeah,
support. She holds all the
yeah.
bag. That's pretty much what he was
Yeah,
doing.
that's basically that's actually exactly what he
He
is
was a
in
chump,
the
they
first
told me.
gate.
He was a chump.
He's wood tier. He's bronze tier. My boy.
Yeah.
He's trying to make it work, but
So
sheesh.
essentially, it was like a E rank gate. So like weak sauce, like routine gate, like any team should happen. Like no problem. They end up upon stumbling upon this double door. So which pretty much essentially like they opened it, and it was like secretly one of those like S rank gates type of deal
Oop,
situation.
they played him.
So the whole
Mhm.
team goes in there and shit just goes down, and then long story short, he's kind of like the only like survivor, I think.
He's like the last man standing. Or actually, no, the healer, one of
Yeah,
his friends, like so he has a friend that's a healer, B rank,
Yeah.
but she's still new to everything. I guess that's an interesting thing too. Like even though they're like Dungeon and Dragon characters and shit, like even if they have like a high rank, I mean it makes sense though. Like just because you have a high rank doesn't mean you're gonna have the nerves to handle
and
battle.
that's kind of the unique thing about it. Like like I'm considered like an A rank hunter, so that means I should be technically good. But if your personality is like you're easily scared or you're nervous about things,
Hmm.
like, it still will affect your how you deal with life and when you're on these missions.
Yeah.
No, I get you. Yeah.
So essentially, so after this incident, he becomes like it's called solo leveling, right? So he pretty much becomes like a I guess you could kind of call it like a glitch type of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
where like he all of a sudden has access to like a system that shouldn't exist, but he has like things where it'll give him like quests to do, and he gets stronger. And you're pretty much just following his whole journey of how this man becomes an E rank to God.
Basically, yeah.
that's why I used to power level in Mabel's story. I got you, man. I
But
understand the story. I lived that life.
Yeah, it's like the system's cool. You know, like yeah, it's like it's almost like Genshin or like any other MMO. Like all of a sudden, here's a bunch of like quests
Side
slash yeah, that all of a sudden that like he now can see and see access. So like for example, and this was a kind of funny like Easter egg too. You'll probably notice for when you guys read it or check it out. But it was like he had to run like 150. He had to do like 150 push-ups, 150.
oh yeah, they're referencing
sit-ups.
like One Punch Man.
Yeah, like,
There's a
it's
lot
so
of
cool.
like references from like video games, anime, and like, if you're paying attention, you'll catch them.
Yeah, it's like it's everything sounds cliche. Like I understand because I thought the same thing too when I first like got into it and before I recommended it to Emil and Ryan. I was like, yeah, this kind of sounds like kind of run of the mill, kind of like,
Like
this
the
might be
typical
around.
like typical like dungeon anime. Like
I mean, like things can have cliche, themes as long as it's executed in such a way that's like
That makes it stand
different.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, like,
that's
look
exactly
at the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. Like we'd all read comics. I mean, I'm a huge comic book junkie, and I've seen. I mean, Infinity War was a comic book arc years ago, like decades ago,
a long time ago.
and it's like I know what's gonna happen in some form or another. Still, they did it in such a way they changed it up enough that it's like, oh, this is like live action. We're seeing actors do it, and I, knowing how the outcome was gonna go, I still walked my ass into that theater and watched it. Like, I'm definitely.
How many times have we watched Spider-Man get rebooted?
How many times have I watched Uncle Ben die? Is the real question.
That's the real question for real. It's like, damn, Uncle Ben. It's like Uncle Ben died again. Shit. All right, fine. Put it on my G calendar or whatever.
That's like that. Have you seen that meme where it shows like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and it says, "Who is that Pokemon?" He's like, "Oh my god, it's Diglett," and then it reveals and it's Uncle Ben's tombstone.
Oh my god, I must see this meme.
That's my goal.
Holy shit.
That's my goal as an actor. My goal as an actor, I have two huge goals because from episode 1, all y'all heard that I want to do voiceover work, and that's behind the mic. On screen, I want to I want to play Uncle Ben in some iteration of Spider-Man. 2, and I mean not at this age. I'm young. I'm young. I'm healthy. I wouldn't have died from a singular gunshot. It'll take at least 2. And then 2, I want to be in a really, really, really bad B movie. Like a really, really bad horror B movie. Like the stuff that Ichika does.
We have corrupted the man.
We truly have.
Welcome to our
hell yeah.
religion.
Well, like, oh, man. Yeah, you got it. I told you what happened freaking at night. I had a dream. I'm over here walking down the street and I see a character from one of the characters from Quintuplets. I'm just like, and even in the dream, I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? And I woke up, and the first day I woke up, I was like, what the fuck did you guys do to me?
It's like a lucid dream or some shit. You were like, what? What's going on?
Yeah, it's because I was watching episodes before I went to bed. So like it was lucid as hell, but it's all right, everybody. The Quintuplets in my dream were Nino and Ichika. And they were like, hey, what's up? In my dream, I was like, you're not real. It was the weirdest thing in the world. And then it went to like a scene from a video game I was playing and I got killed. But
rip sadness.
Nah, man, it's all good. If I could die in a video game and I could die in real life in the same way, that'd be dope as hell.
Talking about Sword Art Online again?
Nah, man, I was reading a Warhammer book and playing a Warhammer video game and I got like torn apart by like a robot skeleton. I woke up, I was like, Nino and Ichika were there. And then I got ripped apart by a skeleton. So people say dreams mean things. Tell me what that dreams mean, y'all. Like whatever the hell that was.
Death by anime, and that's what's gonna happen.
Hey, man, I'll be fine with that. Death by snoo.
True.
But
sign me up, Chief.
But no, totally. Like, I'll definitely be taking a look at solo leveling. But that's gonna dig into the time that I'm dedicating to like life novels. So like I have to like balance out what I'm reading now because I'm also reading like regular human books as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Regular human books. What is this
Yeah, dude.
sorcery?
yeah,
Dude.
yeah, dude. Regular human
Well,
books.
They
Me too.
exist out there. If you was reading Barack Obama's book,
Good. I'm like halfway through. I think it really explains a lot of things.
yeah, the
And
saying, Frieza just showed up. It's getting a little spicy, but again, we all know how it ends.
oh no, that don't show up until end of book 2. That hasn't been out yet. Like when Cell comes in and like
end of term 2.
end of term 2, and then we need the sequel by Gohan.
Yeah,
fuck.
dude.
Are
Mitt
the,
Romney.
the androids like book 1.5, like how they do it in life novels?
Yeah, it's like a
Dude.
1.5 book talking about a different perspective of it.
Of the farmer that got killed by rabbits. No. But yeah, so I'll definitely be checking out Solo Leveling when I get the chance.
Yeah, there's so
Hell
many
yeah.
web comics out there. Like you just so many, so good. You
It's
can like
definitely an
literally
emerging
sit
market.
there. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is the I think the emerging market where they're at. Like you can literally sit all day.
I mean, Netflix picked up that series. What was it? The one about the dude in the apartment is like Lovecraftian horrors appear. It's on Netflix.
Oh, it was yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, oh,
What
I
is
forgot
it
what it's called though.
called?
But I know a lot of things have been just like adapted into like other medias, like not just like anime, like dramas. Yeah, it's just
Kind of like live action.
live
That's yeah,
action.
that's pretty cool. Damn, I'm trying to think of which one you guys are talking about too. It's like I remember seeing a trailer for it too. I was looking for shit on Netflix.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
my
gonna
gosh.
say it again. King's Avatar was a web novel, which got
And I
adapted
wrote.
into a light. It was a light novel that got adapted into a live action TV show and an anime. So once again,
Shit.
watch the King's Avatar. And
They're
so
like, yo. They're like, let's hit the trifecta.
I know I'm a
We'll
broken
do.
record, but I will mention it every episode I can just until people watch the King's Avatar and so on.
Watch her to get sponsored like Emil. Do you want to be in the King's Avatar because you brought
I've
it
been
so much
like,
up?
yes, let me live out my dreams of becoming a faker like player, even though I'm a complete
Dang.
scrub at games.
Nah, bro. You need to be like you Kirito, be a beater, man. You be a beta tester and a cheater. When I heard those lines, I stopped watching Sword Art Online, and that was the first episode. That was like the first 10 minutes of the first episode of the first season. And I was like, nah, I'm good, guys.
You're like, yeah, this shit's chalk. Never mind. Oh god.
But yeah,
Cool.
let's
Life novels.
Life novels. Let's do it.
I opened up with the webcomics I already. Do you want to go into the life novels you're currently chipping your way through, Meal? Then I'll go and we'll let him Chavez again end it because he's
Yeah, sure.
the king.
He's a senpai. He's our sensei in all things anime.
Right. I'm like, yo, check this shit out, and lo and behold.
I have an interesting like backstory when it comes to like light novels. So currently, I'm actually only reading one light novel right now, and that is if y'all are familiar with Baka to Test. Great anime. So many inside jokes that you can get from there. Like Hideyoshi, like is the goat. Hideyoshi is the goat. Even like but yeah, that's actually it was really confusing because like with the anime how they did it, the anime kind of was like forget order. We're just gonna adapt the anime light novels of how we want to. So like season 1 kind of followed the story a little bit, and then season 2 was like, okay, we're gonna take a part of the later books and put it into the anime, and it was like in no order. So like it's kind of been interesting for me reading the light novel because I think I'm on volume 6. So I'm about halfway of the regular story if we're not counting like the 0.5 mangas that kind of like are the side stories that kind of explain other things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird because like I remember all this stuff, but then kind of recalling back in the anime, I'm like, but that didn't happen until like season 2, and then like it was just like jumping all over the place. So it's kind of nice to finally see like the story in one order, and that one's pretty much just you have your typical like your like academy. Also, another ranking scale, as I guess that's just a common thing of things we like to watch or read, right? Like you have your F class students, which are like the bakas, and you're like the idiots, the degenerates, the
double honors.
Yeah, like the people like in certain type of categories, and then like you move up to class D, C, B, A. Well, A is clearly like the best students, like your typical like, oh, they're set in life because like they're from a rich family, they're good students. They have like the best facilities for like the classroom, like they get air conditioning, like high tech desks, like really cool state of the art things. And then you have your class F, which is where the main characters are kind of following. Like they're stupid, except for like one of the main girls where she just unfortunately got placed into a lower class because of what happened during the entrance exam.
Mm-hmm.
That you kind of just follow like their like mischievous adventures of like going through their school days, and it's really cool because like they kind of if school was like this in real life, I'd be so like more into like school than I was like growing up. I'm not a bad student. Like I will say arguably all of us were pretty like good students for the most part. Like for the most part
Mm-hmm.
we're like straight A's or like B's here and there, but for the most part like we were like pretty good students.
Who
But now
said that?
imagine. Okay, fine. Speak for yourself, Ryan. You and Chavez, I'm trying to bring you up here, man.
I was never half a sophomore year. I was too busy having my
Why you didn't get
stomach
a locker?
removed and stuck back. Yeah, I was trying to get a lot. Yeah, that's a whole other story. We'll put that in our Patreon only exclusive deep seated hatred episodes of why Ryan's back is fucked up.
Courtesy of moi and all of our friends.
Yeah, courtesy of all of our current friends too.
I'm trying to keep quiet and just kind of whistle, like ha 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 ha,
I might as well tell. We were talking about it. So freshman year, so we get like we all went to the same high school. At least the three of us. Wally also went to the same high school, but he's older than us, so obviously it wasn't during our time.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much what happened was I became friends with Chavez, and then like our group of friends, and then Ryan also happened to befriend our same group of friends, and we just never met each other.
I transferred in sophomore year. That's what I became.
Yeah, he transferred sophomore year. Yeah,
and
he was also missing for most of it.
Yeah, he was missing for some of it, and we were like, and so we got like slips of paper to tell you who your locker partner is. So I got Ryan, and I never met him, so I didn't know who he was. And then so Ryan goes to our group of friends. He's like, hey, do you know who this Emil guy is? And none of them said anything.
Mind you, we all know each other. We all know each other.
We all know each other.
And then they're like, oh no. So like one of my best friends, my other best friend, Alec, we ended up becoming locker partners. So yeah, so we ended up sharing a locker, and then I don't know, somebody offered the locker for him, and
I said no.
Yeah, he said no. So he suffered a whole year just carrying heavy ass textbooks. Mind you, these are not like those small textbooks. These are like proper like thick hardcover textbooks that weigh like 50-pound backpacks.
Literally. Yeah. And mind you, just like on a separate quick note of that, how stupid was the administration of Lincoln Park where they said in a school of like 3,000 kids, we're going to give people pieces of paper and say, hey, go find your locker partner. We could have never run into each other the whole time I was at the school.
You could have not have been in any like completely separate classes. Never run into each other ever.
Student too. Like we never know.
Yeah, like I could have like what? Like and then, that's Chicago public schools for you guys.
And then the whole time, right? I'm just all like, I was like, whatever. And then I did not know about this until like our senior year. Yeah, and then you're like, Ryan was talking about like how like, because we were reminiscing of how we all met each other. And
my spine's all twisted.
And Ryan was telling us a story, and I was like, damn, so they did you bogus and didn't tell you who I was?
Like so mad.
Right,
no, I was gonna say just man. Every time every time I do squats or I lift something up my back, I hear it crack. I just think of each pop as my vertebrae goes up. I think of Chavez. I think of Omeo. I think Alan. All those fake friends.
Dude, it's funny because like that kind of plays into the story of Baka the Test because like you have a group of friends, right? But they're kind of like frenemies. They're like they're always trying to like punk on each other. Now imagine if you went to like high school, right? And then like say you were like you did like awesome on your test, so everyone has like a chibi battle avatar, and that's kind of like the premise of like the story where like you would wage war on other classes to try like taking their classrooms and like upgrading your opportunities in school, like have a better school life. So imagine that, like, you have school, you have like all your smart ass kids like trying to fight each other with their chibi battle avatars, facing up another class to try to like take something from them. Like, dude, that would have been so cool. It's been like a video game, but like in real life.
But
Hell
it's
yeah.
not. High school sucks. That's just
Yeah, high school sucks.
plain and
You have,
simple.
you have your good and your bad times, but yeah, high school sucks. And then I'm also kind of like in a weird situation when it comes to the light novels. So like I'm an avid like if I really am a fan of the series, even if I haven't like read it, I will buy it. So like I was a big fan of Haruhi. So me and Chavez, when back in like college, we were buying the Haruhi light novels.
Yep, yep.
Keep this in mind. I've owned these books for probably close to like 8 to 10 years now. I haven't read a single one of them. And what's even worse, now that they're re-releasing them as like a new paperback, I've been buying the new copies of it. So like I pretty much am sitting on 2 copies of light novels that I haven't touched since like 8 years ago. And then like kind of same with the other light novel series I have. Like they're like either they're animes I've watched or they're like things I've heard of and I want to get into, and I'll just kind of buy it to read in the future. So like the Monogatari box sets, like I own both sets 1 and 2. I haven't touched a single one. Or like Romantic Youth, I own Volume 1. I haven't read it. Classroom of the Elite. I watched the anime. I love the anime. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to read the light novels. Nope, haven't read it because I'm
Haven't
still working
touched it.
through. I'm still kind of like I kind of want to be like one thing at a time. So I'm working through Baka to test. Then once I'm finished with that, I can finally like move on.
Hell yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Go through it one at a time. Helps you kind of absorb everything that each one has to offer. Makes sense.
It's kind of cool. Like even though you've seen like the anime or like the movie or like whatever the adaptation is, and then you go back and reading the book and you're like, oh damn it, you get the extra details you might not get in the anime or they have to like cut out, so you kind of get like the full story, and sometimes it goes farther than what the adaptation does because a lot of times they're like, yeah, we'll do season 1 and 2, story keeps going, and then they're like, oh, we're not going to make a third season.
Konosuba.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No
Konosuba.
game, no life.
Bless up. Bless
Yeah,
up.
no game, no life. Shit. I guess I'll take over now, right? So like I said, let me just scoop my chair in. Ooh. So Konosuba was the first light novel series that I really got into, other than some Gundam. I would even count the Gundam books that I read light novels. I'd count them like straight up books, like they were like books.
Mm.
Real people book. No,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's Gundam, it's not a real person book. Like anything that has to do with like anime is not something that you'd find in like a school library. So, but yeah, I was reading, like I read those Gundam books, but those are just like actual like full length books. Konosuba is the first series, the first light novel series that I picked up and started reading, mainly because I watched the anime first. And for those of you that are still following us, I'm a huge fan of the English dub of Konosuba and the Japanese dub. Both casts did an absolutely outstanding job. So I wanted to see, how Emil was saying, they usually leave some things out. Well, here's the crazy thing. I'm pretty sure Konosuba started as a web novel first, or a web comic first.
Yeah, it came out originally as amusingly enough, so it did start out online. But actually,
did
no.
it really?
Actually, now that I think about it, actually, a lot of current light novels did start off as just like almost like fan fiction, basically. Like they started off online. There's just an author was just like, "Yo, you know what? I have an idea," or not an author, or yeah, author slash writer was like, "Yo, I have an idea. Let me just see what people think." They published it online, and eventually, just because of how much traction it got, it then got
Just took
noticed
off.
by publishers. Yeah, and then the publishers would be like, "Yo, you want to do this shit?" They're like, "Hell yeah, let's run it." And now here we are.
Well, yeah, One Punch Man was the same thing.
Yep.
Like One Punch Man, like, oh man, I remember reading the original One Punch Man like on like webcomic, and I was like rolling. But yeah, so I wanted to see, back to what I was saying, I wanted to see, what things that they left out. And again, Konosuba, for those of you that don't know, there's 2 seasons and a movie that just came out in English.
Mm-hmm.
It goes way past that. It goes way past the event. I'm not even sure if the movie is canon. I haven't gotten that far in the series yet. But I wanted to pick it up and read it just so I could, kind of like Camille was saying, appreciate the series for its roots and get all the things that would definitely be left out in an anime because of like, broadcasting things, or we can't show this, or that's, we don't want to take up too much time focusing on that side story or that side character arc. With a light novel, you get that all right there because you're reading a book and you could pick it up and put it down at your leisure.
Mm-hmm.
So I just finished the first Konosuba light novel book, and it was like, a lot of it was like word for word what the anime was, I'd say.
So it was like a truthful adaptation.
Exactly. It was a truthful adaptation. But either way, it was like I was experiencing it for the first time. Like I was sitting there laughing. It was just as funny. It's kind of funny though, because I've watched Konosuba so many times in both the English and Japanese dubs that like my brain will switch as I'm reading who's voicing that character in my head. Like it's just like, I have the Japanese voice for darkness in one scene, then the next I'm, it's Christina V in my head as I'm like reading the book. But so I'm still working through those. I just got to book 2. I purchased them all on Bookwalker, like every single version, every single edition of the light novel series. The light novel, the side stories, and all that. I bought it all. The other one,
let's go.
Well, yeah, because like I just want to because I mean Bookwalker has like some stupid sales and you get like weird like money back things. So I'm always buying stuff on there when I can.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah, not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored.
If anything, if you want to go help someone out who gets sponsored by Bookwalker, go take a look at Sid Snap, because I used her code the first time I used Bookwalker to get the first bunch of light novels. The second light novel I got was Amagi Brilliant Park. And I only have the first book of that, but I was testing out like a free trial of this anime dubbing. I don't know if it's like if High Dive is the company or if it's just the service. High Dive has English dubbed animes on there as well, and I saw Amagi Brilliant Park, and I actually picked up Amagi. I actually went to watch it for the first time because I've watched all of Full Metal Panic.
Yeah,
which is one of my
Full Metal Panic.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite series. But one of the characters in there looks like a character from Full Metal Panic. It's like this little like. In Full Metal Panic, he's called Bontakun, but in Amagi Brilliant Park, the character's called Moful. I thought they were the same people. I thought the world was somehow linked. Went to go watch it. Not linked, just kind of like an homage to the character. But yeah, it was a weird... Amagi is kind of like an odd series to me. It's just like like who'd have thought like, there's magical people, but you know what, they run a theme park and the theme park's going under, and I was like, what a weird plot point to have. So I watched, there's 2 seasons, and it's 2 seasons, I think it's 1 season in OVA.
Yeah, I think it's 1 season and 1 OVA.
Yeah, I know it's been like on my list of anime to watch for the longest time, just because I was looking at the concept like what you're saying. I'm just all like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of out there, isn't it? Like,
yeah. Okay.
Since when do fantasy characters have to worry about paying mortgage? Like, that's something I have to do.
Like real life responsibilities. True. What are you talking about?
Well, bro, that's why I like Aqua Bro so much, because she sits there, she's in debt, she drinks a lot, life's not too great, she lives in a garage. Like, what's going on?
This is why we dubbed him the Archbishop of the Axis cult.
Yep.
I meant Axis Order.
Oh yeah, right. Wait, hold on. I gotta watch my back now. Hold on, I accidentally said this shit out loud. Oh, you can hear knocking and shit. Like, hey, you want to sign this? You want to sign this?
Me money?
You want to sign this paper on each?
I love that when he sees it, he reads it. He's like, wait, he's like, nah! And the girl's like crying. I love that. I love those episodes because like all the people are like they hate darkness, and she's just like. He's like, are you getting off to this? She's like, no. La Latina.
La Latina.
But but so yeah, so like Amagi was just like I've only read the first couple, like I even say pages of that. Not even pages of it, because I want to finish Konosuba, and I'm picking Amagi is actually pulling me more into it because I already kind of know what happens with Konosuba.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amagi's pulling me more, and I know that if I finish that book, I will want the next one, and they're not on sale right now. So I don't want to like finish it until I was like, all right, there's a sale. I would have finished the book right now and pick up the rest for cheap. Because if I don't, I'll just buy the whole thing and I'll be in debt.
Even further there. Even further.
I know, right? Even further. But yeah, like again, it's such a weird concept. And like I found out that they actually made the anime of Amagi to boost the light novel sales.
That's
So they
Mhm.
don't.
particularly, I
Yeah,
feel like
that's a
happens a
common
lot. Yeah.
tactic.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't see like again like I'm totally new to like light novels, so I was like, okay. Usually, I feel like it would be the other way around. I was like, oh, they released a book so that it can supplement the anime. Not it's not that they want to sell more Amagi,
Hmm.
which I was like, oh, it's unfortunate because I liked the voice cast. There were some different players in that, some voice actors I hadn't seen before, and some I feel like underutilized voice actors in that series. Like I'd like to see them come back, but again, it's such an odd series that I think I'm gonna be just fine if all I can do is read the light novels and not ever see it like adapted again. I do my fingers crossed as I have my whole body crossed for Konosuba season 3. My back's all bent thanks to Emil and Chavez, so that's crossed too. But
We still waiting for No Game No Life season 2.
yeah, it's true. See, they
Yeah.
got me to watch that, and now there's nothing left. And I'm just here. I'm not going to watch the movie because it's not canon. But yeah. So for me, those are like the only two that I'm really, well, and of course,
Invested.
quintessential. Once I feel like buying all of that, but I don't have
Mhm.
That
$114.
that is a mango.
Yeah.
It's just a mango.
It's a
Yeah, it's
mango.
just a mango. It's just a mango. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh well,
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
guess not.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I get to save $114. Isn't that great? If you start to buy a magi.
That sounds
But
great.
Yeah.
but yeah, so those are the two that I'm really into. But it's definitely like a form of art slash media that I will be pursuing more, just because it's like I have the Bookwalker app on my phone,
Hmm.
and I'm sitting there,
More portability.
exactly, I'm sitting there on the porcelain throne reading. I can sit there and read a book, or I'm just like chilling outside, or I'm out for a walk somewhere, I'm waiting for a doctor's appointment, I can just read. So yeah,
Hmm.
definitely I'll be jumping more into light novels.
Was was Devil's a part timer? Was that a light novel?
Yeah, that was also a light novel.
That's something I want to like pick up and like because I saw it earlier. Like I went to Barnes and Nobles earlier the last couple of days, and I was like, oh, there's Devil's a part timer. I was like, maybe I'll pick it up. And I'm like, wait, I need to chill on this stuff real quick.
Yeah, no, it's actually, yeah, like quite often it's either the animes are either going to be. I mean, there are some original ones that there's no source prior to it airing, but yeah, for the most part, a lot of anime is like it's either coming from an existing manga like Quintessential, or it'll come from one that already has both, or like both renditions, both a life novel and a manga, like Origaru or Konosuba,
And like
Yeah.
and like
the way to tell if it's from, like how we said earlier in the beginning of the episode, if the title is extremely long, it is most likely
mhm.
a light novel. Like for Origaru, right?
Yeah, for Origaru, like it's actual like English is like my youth romantic comedy is wrong as expected, and then like for Japanese it's like Yahari Orino Seishun, like, and then like a bunch of stuff. I'm not even gonna try to cap and be like, yo, I'm fluent in Japanese. Like, no,
And then it's like
I'm not quite at that level.
where it's like, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Like it's always like a super like long title that's you're like, yeah, it's probably a light novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If
Today I
if you
lost
look
my
if you look at it,
W-2s, and now I'm
sheesh.
not getting my taxes done. The light novel.
I love it. I love it. Actually, no, not getting your W-2 is actually that's actually kind of yabai. It's kind of
Gotta get
bad.
into the light novel business, boys.
Again, I ask you guys, do you think Professor X has W-2s for the X-Men? A real question. Answer that in the comments, guys.
No, they work for
Ooh, now that would be a fun comment section to read. All right, bet. um, but then yeah, damn. So Ryan talked about it. Konosuba, definitely recommend that one.
yes, now it's
Actually,
our sensei's turn to teach us and educate us on
Yeah.
of light novels. As you can tell, he's the one who got us into it.
Yeah.
yeah, like just like in the previous episodes. I mean, I just now that I'm older, I just love fucking just buying up all the merchandise and shit. So like for me, it was like for light novels, like I'm like hell yeah, I'm down. Like I can look at my bookshelf and I can see Don Machi, I can see Konosuba, I can see Origaru, I can see Toradora. I don't actually have my OG Haruhi; those are all still back in Chicago. I still need to get them shipped out, and I do need to pick up the new ones. However, it is kind of hard though to really keep up with everything. Like, sure, most of them have anime, and I've seen them, or they have mangas, and I've read them. And like when I've read the light novels, I can notice like, oh yeah, like oh this scene wasn't adapted, and like, oh, this this scene they kind of adapted in a different kind of like in a different twist. Like their approach to it isn't quite as faithful to the book, but it's still like it's at least it's still present in the anime. And then like kind of like what I was saying before, like if the anime, if there's pre-existing like source, so like a light novel or a manga, I think right now the average is usually like for each season, if it's a 12 or 13 episode long, you can kind of anticipate they'll adapt 4 to 5 light novels depending on how fast the pacing is and all that good shit. But it's like it is kind of hard though to keep up with everything. So like with the Konosuba movie, which was also fucking hilarious, and I recommend everyone watch it if you can get the chance. That shit had me rolling, and unfortunately, it is also kind of sad too because I got to see it in the movie theaters prior to COVID, so it was just fucking awesome. Just laughing with other fucking weebs, laughing at all the antics and just the fucking movie itself. But yeah, like for example, for Konosuba, I'm actually still waiting from Right Stuff and to receive some light novels because I have like a fucking like probably like 60 or 80 buck. I honestly I did a bunch of pre-orders, and now that the last pre-ordered book is actually out, they're now shipping everything. So it's like, so this is like an order from like a couple months ago. That's all.
It's Christmas all over again.
Fuck yeah, dude! Yeah, let's go. It's like a mystery box. I'm like, yo, what the fuck did I order like all those months ago? But it's a big ass box. But it's like I need to actually read them to actually see like the later ones at least, to be like, hey, is this actually was the movie canon? But regardless, fuck all that shit. Anyway, the books are just great. It's just for me, I love collecting them physically. However, Ryan did bring up a good point, like with Bookwalker. Like if you don't, honestly, they do take up a lot of space. Like I can look at my bookshelf and I can see, they take up the entire space. But for some people,
so much space. Like even for me, like I have a small collection, but it's already like taken over like a counter space of mine that was previously occupied with other things.
Yeah. Like totally. Like if you want to just do portability, just do what. Like yeah, just get downloaded online. You can download it through like Apple or fucking Bookwalker. I'm pretty sure there's other sites too, but I'm blanking right now. Or like Kindle, I'm pretty sure as well.
Yeah,
like you can read
Kindle.
on your iPad, you can read on your Samsung tablet. It doesn't matter what OS
like,
you have.
Like now is a generation where like ebooks are so regularly available. Like it is so easy to support these artists and authors. Like if you really are a true fan, like Chavez earlier in our Discord posted a meme like, "Oh yes, I will give you the highest honor I can by actually physically buying the manga
or the light novel
or like the merch." Like it's true. Like like right now is like the perfect time. Like almost every series that gets released right now has like you go get it on Amazon or like Google Play, like or Bookwalker. Like you have your ways to like obtain it. It like like for us, like I will truly try to buy as many mangas or light novels as I can. And it's just unfortunately, not every light novel makes it officially to the U.S. So kind of like in my case, right? Like if Baka Test actually had physical books or even ebooks to buy it online, I would. But they never officially translated to English. It was like a self project, like that a bunch of guys made. They translated themselves the whole story.
It was like a fan project.
It was a fan project, and I was like, like unfortunately, like like I would love to support the author and everything, but there's no actual way. So it's kind of tricky, like you get in those situations. But I am a big advocate. Like if you can buy the physical or electronic copy, do it. Like it helps out the industry that we all love so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah, always gotta show love back. They're giving us hours upon hours, and fucking I bet if I look up my anime list, it's probably fucking like days or even months worth of entertainment. So it's like, you know what? Hell yeah, I gotta pay it back. But yeah, in terms of light novels though, just keep it short and sweet. I would definitely recommend Origaru. Again, my youth romantic comedy is wrong as I expected. High school takes place in high school. MC is kind of a narcissistic little shit, but just the way he goes about stuff, and like it's just good. It's just a feels good one. Also has a manga as well and an anime, and the anime just recently finished adapting everything, and I enjoyed it a lot. Right? Yeah, 3 seasons. 3 seasons. So definitely a lot of material and a couple OVAs.
That's
Konosuba
actually
again.
currently on English. Whew.
What
So, oh, Arigaru. That's the anime I just started the other day, actually.
Oh, word? Hell yeah, let's go, baby. Hell yeah. Konosuba, again, I mean, shit. Emil, Ryan, and I have mentioned it, so definitely a good one to check out. And then I would also recommend Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Again, the title is complete bait, though. You'll understand if you watch the anime. And I will say, as you know, from reading the light novels as well, it's it's faithful, it's just as good, and yeah, hell yeah, that would be my recommendations at least.
Don't get blindsided by the bunny girl. It only plays such a small part of the story.
Yeah, it's such a small part, but just
It's
but the
fantastic.
story how
The story is
how
so good.
it's so good, just the way it
Have,
unveils.
have you watched it, Ryan? Bunny Girl Senpai?
No, I haven't. I heard it's really sad. I don't feel like being sad.
It's kind of like
It has
I
its
guess
moments. It has its
I guess
moments.
the way to say it, right? It's like adult or more older grown up version for like people who love Haruhi. Kind of.
Yeah.
Haruhi messed me up too.
Yeah. But
so if you're saying that the kid version messed me up, the adult version is gonna bust me up.
Yeah, watch it. It's fantastic.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch it. I love anything with a good story. I love anything with a good story. You know, like
Yeah, it would definitely be 100% up your alley. 100%. You would love it.
like my name is what's that one? Is it My Name is Yakamoto? My name is what's that one that we're trying to watch, Emil? The funny one?
Oh, the Yakamoto Sensei.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yakamoto Sensei.
I heard that's
That
funny,
has-
dude. I still need to watch it.
Dude, I watched it in Japan. Like, I mean, of course, it just got an English dub, but I watched that one in Japanese, and I was laughing so hard. But
I love Ryan how you always are like you have to preference English to
Mhm.
Japanese.
well,
dub.
because I am the outlier of that in this group, you know, and just letting you listeners know, I get hate for it. I have a whole separate server that they put me in, and sometimes they'll like bring me in. They're like, "Hey, you want to like play some games?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And they'll be like, "Answer this question in Japanese," and I can't because I watch dubs and I can't play.
or we'll share that meme. They'd be upset if you could read.
Yeah, if they could read, they'd be mad. Like,
Oh, I love it.
but let's zero in on our final column of discussion topic stuff, and that is like good old classic, the humble mangu. You know,
It's probably where most of us actually got started, aside from like anime. It is.
Oh, yeah.
well,
Definitely, 100%.
Like
yeah.
me and Chavez, like unofficially, like our gaming duo, we're the Mango Bros. This is we love anime. I mean manga like so much. Was there like anything specifically you guys like remember from back then? Because
From
like
back then?
I remember
I was
like,
overweight.
no, but you know what I mean, like back in the day where like you'd go to like a Borders.
Oh, yeah,
Borders
dude.
Yeah,
or,
100%.
like,
I
Yeah.
used
and
to
you
read
just
the-
like sit there and they're so cool with you just reading everything, so we technically never bought anything.
I
Well,
read
we're-
all the dot hack books because a girl in
Oh,
my
man.
elementary school brought me the original. It was like I called them omnibuses, but they're not. It kind of is. It's
Are
like
they
we're like
omnibuses? Like the
Yeah, wouldn't they be considered that? Yeah.
that's what I call them. It's always like that's not what they're not. It's a manga, and I was like, don't talk to me.
they're omnibus. They don't know what
I mean,
they're
yeah,
talking about.
because aren't they? Yeah, they're
It
like
is a
three
manga.
volumes in
yeah,
one, right?
Yeah, it's multiple volumes in one. It was a whole other thing.
Yeah,
but, you know,
100%.
I'm already a dub watcher, so people are gonna be like, "It's not an omnibus, you dumbass."
Because it's Takabun, right? Is the single manga volume
What'd
or
you call
something
me?
like that? Is it a Takabun? Is that what it is?
Taco bun?
No,
Takabun
yeah.
or
It's,
whatever?
About what?
Shit, I'm actually not sure.
But I know it's
I
something
think
like
technically
that.
it is.
I'm like butchering the pronunciation probably, but yeah, that's like one, and then the omnibus is like the 3 volumes into like one or like 4, however they want to do it. Like the
I mean,
bigger-
yeah, that's what I
the
mean.
big
Like,
boys.
I mean, that's what I do for like any of my other human books, like my Warhammer books. I like get omnibuses, but despite that, you know, either way, she had the first like all of the original dot hack series, the manga, in omnibus form, and she would just let me read them. And she was very much like someone who took a lot of time to read them.
Mhm.
I am like a voracious rabid dog when I read, like I get hooked on something. And she gave me the first omnibus thinking it would take me like a couple weeks to read, just like I go through it, and I devoured it in a lunch period.
It's like I'm done.
And not only are these elementary school lunch periods, these are Lutheran elementary school lunch periods. So, usually you get like 45 minutes. We had 10 minutes. I read the whole thing. I'm just kidding. But I read the whole book during a lunch period. And I was like, do you have the next one? She was like, what? She's like, you finished? I was like, yeah. She's like, come on, you didn't really. And I was like quoting stuff. I was like, yeah, man, chitin, whoa, 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 Black Rose and all that stuff. And like, she's wigging out. But that, that's what I remember from my introduction to manga. She had those books.
Underestimating the weeb potential this man had.
Exactly. It was awakened in me. Totem spirit weeb, activate. And that's, and well, the thing is like, and then from there, she would like feed me other series. Like I read all those. She got me into Sergeant Frog or Kuro Gunso.
Oh hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, like that one. That I read all of the manga. I'm not even sure. I can't say I read all of it. I'm not even sure. I read that's a series that I purchased a ton of the actual manga for. She got me into that. She got me into Pita-ten, DN Angel.
Oh, DN Angel.
I remember we were talking about this during the last episode, the anime episode.
Like she got me into those, and then from there, like it kind of like subsided. And then once I got to high school, I was on the anime kick, and I started the anime kick with like like I was introduced to it younger, like when I was watching Gundam. But like when I got back to high school, it's like, oh man, Rosario Vampire. I was watching the dub of that. Because everyone here knows that, like, that's my show. No one else watches that show but me. And all those waifus are mine. I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait a second. I'm the one who told him to watch the show.
I was sitting here. I was like, should I let him talk his shit? I don't know, Chief.
I didn't even front it. I was that weeb who had like one of like the smaller like vampire cross necklace that Mocha had, but it was just like a regular necklace, and the Gurren Lagann. I had that. I was wearing that.
Oh, the Gurren Lagann was cool. I remember that one that you had. That was cool.
No shit, bro. Rosario Mocha-chan for life.
But yeah, like, so it's manga. So like, what are like I know for me some of the manga that I guess I'm gonna talk about the manga that I've actually purchased. I think that'd be good because like I've read a ton online, but like we were just talking about supporting the the authors and like the field. Like again, Kuro Gunso, Junji Ito, for all of you psychotics out there, his stories are really fun. They're like horror, like
if you love horror,
but like horror that you don't understand. And I kind of don't want to go into because I kind of want to have a horror based episode later on. So I'll say check out Junji Ito.
Yeah, that'd be fun,
right? Dot Hack, like I said, I got all those. I didn't buy those, but like, no, I did. I did.
All of Dot Hack. I was like, isn't that a long series?
No, I have some of like the original, like the first series that came out. But the like the most recent series that I purchased like all the like manga for is Lim Dal Young's Freezing, which is technically a manhwa.
Yeah, it's a manhwa, right?
It's a manhwa, yeah.
It's like, wasn't it a webcomic at first?
I don't know if that was a webcomic first.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a webcomic originally, but
it's from Korea, so I call it a manhwa, and so that one, again, like, last episode I was saying just how much I loved that series. That's a series that I've purchased everything for. Very soon, Quintessential Quintuplets is going to be the next series that I purchase everything for because I am obsessed with that series. Such a good show. But yeah.
I remember this dude was hating on it too in the beginning.
Man, let me tell you something. And you know what? It's funny because the character, the sister that I love the most in terms of she's had the most character development and the awesome character art, is Nino. And in the first episode, those first episodes, I hated her. I hated her. She was actually, I was telling you guys, she was like one of the reasons why I almost stopped watching the series. I was like, did she really just do that to this dude? I was like, are you kidding me? Like, when I look at it,
shit she does in the beginning is so questionable. You're like, what the fuck? Like,
questionable? That's just downright wrong.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And like some of those, you have to pause and go like, wait, what the fuck did she just do to him? What?
Yeah, and then she does it again in the second season. It's kind of like funny at that point, but like. Yeah, that's like, it's like, oh, she's done it. Like, but the thing is, that's her character arc has progressed that far. That's like, that she's just not that person. But like, she did that, and then like, I'm looking at Futuro, and I'm just like, this guy's like, his family's poor, his freaking mom is dead. Like he's just doing his best to get by. And there are these three spoiled brats who are from like a rich person. That they're rich and they're spoiled. And I was like, man, fuck these people. And then I kept watching it. I remember I messaged you guys. I was like, man, I can't stand these people. I cannot stand these characters. And then here I am,
having dreams.
No, dreaming about them. Hell yeah.
You know what's funny about this? Because like I remember when we Chavez first introduced it to us, and he literally shows a picture, and I was like, I bet. He was like, I was like, these two are gonna be my waifus. And then I was like, and Miku. And then Chavez is all like, I know this guy. I know his taste. And I watched it. I was like 3 seconds in. I was like, this is my new favorite series of all time.
No, and Chavez and I were talking about this too. It's like, it is such a generic
story.
Yeah, because it's not ecchi in any way, shape, or like it has like moments, but it's not. That is not what it's based on. Like,
yeah, it's not its main focus. Like it doesn't.
It's not like
it doesn't rely on it.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Yeah, well, you're saying like it does have its ecchi moments, like and its degenerate moments, but like looking overall, I'm all like, damn, this is a wholesome ass story.
Well, and barely. I would even say it doesn't have any of those like degen moments. Like ecchi, sure, but like you look at shows like The Devil is a Part-Timer. You look at shows anything with the devil in it. How to Not to Summon the Demon Lord. You look at even Konosuba, and they have like degen moments in it. But this is a very they
have a degen character in
Konosuba. Yeah. They do. I mean, Kazuma is King Degen. Like, they're all degenerates. But and I was telling Chavez this too. I think it was the art style of the first season of the animes what threw me off. I was like, oh, this is just another harem ecchi anime, whatever. So for those of you that are like seeing that and thinking kind of like how I thought, I was like, oh, this is just gonna be like another whatever. It's kind of a waste of time. Don't watch it. And then in the second season, the arc gets way better.
Beautiful.
But yeah, faithful to the manga.
Yeah, it's like season 2's art style is just like the color. Like
more vibrant.
It's just very vibrant, and that's cool because it represents the characters better. Because you could tell in season 1, it was like, oh, let's make these like really bombastic, voluptuous women, and
with the capital C.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's why it was like for me, it's kind of like such a weird show to watch because it's like, okay, when is like they draw them like this? When is this? When is the ecchi going to show up? And it never does. And then you're like at there's glimpses, but it's never anything like, oh, this guy's just like a perv. It's like there's like like the tropes of like walking into the shower and falling asleep in the wrong bed and stuff like that, whatever. But you watch all of season 1 and it never shows up, and you're like, oh man, this is just a good wholesome anime. And then you watch up, and I'm caught up with season 2, and it just further reinforces that. But yeah, I don't even know where we're going with that.
Are you caught up, Chavez, on the manga?
On the manga? Yeah. I mean, it ended, so I've read everything.
Is it pretty truthful to like the adaptation for for the manga?
In my opinion, yeah. I would say for this one, it's definitely faithful. There are like again, just like with any other.
Yeah, like
like any other anime, there are a couple scenes that have been kind of cut out.
Like I know in the manga, especially after season 1 and between season 2, there's like things they left out.
Yeah. There's kind of like
there's like scenes that are like not included in the anime that they could have shown. I feel like would have been nice.
Watch them mix it up, and like the bride is different in the anime than it is in the manga.
Oh my god! See, I'm always like in that dilemma, right? When it comes to like manga and when I'm watching anime, because like I know if it's like a manga, I'm just like I could easily just read the manga, especially if it's airing. I'm like, all right, I kind of want to know, so I could just like go ahead and read the manga and like finish the story. But this one, kind of like, oh, I kind of want to let the anime go through and then go from there. But with quintessential quintuplets, I'm in such a predicament because like this is like literally like this is my jam. Like this is like my favorite anime right now. Like this is my new guilty pleasure. Goodbye, Orin High School Host Club. You have been dethroned.
You have been dethroned. Jeez.
All these years in my life, you've been dethroned by a slice of life manga, anime manga. So I'm this kid, right? Remember how I was saying I like to buy things?
Mm-hmm.
And like with that meme, like you are worthy of like purchasing like the original source. So I'm literally that kid that is caught up on the anime. Yet I own 5 out of the 14 manga volumes. So 5 out of the 12 that have aired. I haven't touched them yet. I've just been ordering them. And I have the rest of the 7 available for purchase in our Amazon cart. I haven't touched it.
He's just waiting to pull the trigger. He's like,
I'm ready.
More episode.
I'm like, I just need the season 2 to end, and then sadly, volume 13 comes out next month, and volume 14 doesn't come out until May. So it's gonna be quite a wait till I finish the story, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, but yeah, like it's just such a good story that I've already been starting to buy like the mangas of it.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's just the development, character development, like across the quintessential. Like again, they're the oldest sisters, and like with Futaro, it's nice. And then like Nino's development too is just chef's kiss.
I mean, all of their character
Her and
development.
Miku, it's
Chef's
so
excellence.
good. Yeah,
Oh,
excellent.
great. It's just excellent.
It's so good.
Woo!
Yeah, I even had to throw in a little chew in there. Sheesh. That's when you know shit's legit.
Was there anything else that you owned, Ryan, aside from like
Freezing and
or-
dot hack and them. Trying to think. I didn't like, not that I like actually purchased. I'm gonna like I said, I'm going to be getting those, but those are the ones that I'm a diehard stan for those series.
Cool. Man, I just like bringing like memories back of like buying mangas like when we were younger. Like I remember I used to be that kid where it's just like, oh yeah, let me buy like 1 or 2 volumes of something. And then so like, do you guys in a similar situation where you own like 1 or 2 volumes of like a bunch of series, but then like barely have anything complete?
Oh yeah, that was
definitely.
FMA and Fairy Tale.
Yeah,
Same.
because like what you were saying, like the Sergeant Caro, I have like 3 volumes of that. Another oldie but goodie, Tsubasa Chronicles.
Oh yeah,
I have like 2 of those. Initial D, I have like a couple random ones that were like gifted to me, and then I have a couple like Attack on Titan. So like it's always weird like looking at like my manga, because like those aren't even in my like room. Like we have that in like our basement area, like where our main books are. So like there's just like random assortment, and then like for me, aside from quintuplets, because I do plan to buy all those. There was only one manga series that I've ever bought every volume for, and that was Negima. I own.
Hell yeah.
This is where my degenerate side starts to play in, because we have a friend, Ian. So he's like family with like Wally, and these guys were the ones who were like getting me into like they play a big influence of me getting into like anime or like mangas. So Ian over here, I think at the time I was like 11 or 12, right? 10 to 12, right? You should not be giving a 10 to 12-year-old a Negima book. Like it's so like cultured, and like it's like the story is amazing though, like the whole magical world, and like how they set up the school, and then like the villains they have to face, and like you see like character developments of how they improve. I'm so like they throw in so much etchy in it. I'm just like, no 10 or 12-year-old should be like actually like reading this, because like literally you could like go to like any volume out of the 38 and open to a random page, and you might see like under boobs, or like you see them anime titties, or
I had under boobs in high school.
or you see them like thighs, like you know what I mean. It's kind of like
Yeah,
you're like, oh, why is a kid reading this? So like, and then dude, we were wild, dude. We go to like Borders, and then we take the bus home, and we're reading that on the bus.
yeah.
Did
we rob people on the bus, man?
To be like, man, why are these kids and this like his older bro like reading? Only if they knew.
For real.
But yeah, that's actually like one of my all-time favorite manga series. Like, the story was rushed a little bit at the end, because I think like he wanted to take a break, and I don't know if he's gonna come back. But apparently he did a sequel series, UQ Holder, so I haven't checked that out yet. Okay, I'm not gonna check it out.
Ryan's ready. He's like, I don't know about this one, Chief.
It's past his golden prime of like Lavina. So Lavina and Negima, those were like some of the earliest mangas I read. Ichigo 100% was another manga I've read to completion. I'm actually like in the process of like trying to find it to reread it online again, because like that was one of the ones where like it was a harem like manga, and it actually ended with like someone winning at the end. I was like, at the time back then, I was like, what? That never happens.
It's just
like,
unheard of.
This is unheard of. What do you mean there's actually like a successful love line at the end?
Yeah, you're telling me it's not an open-ended ending? The fuck? What?
It's not up for our interpretation of whether the best girl won or not.
It's not
Yes,
up to
I-
purchase a specific DLC where my character wins. What?
What? E-transactions? No, I'm just kidding.
E-transactions.
Microtransactions? Yeah, so like there's that, and then I growing up I kind of like wish that like I was more consistent on manga, because I feel like all of us kind of go through that, like, you know, that cycle where you're like, oh yeah, you get into anime and then you get into mangoes, and then you're like, you kind of fall off the mangoes and you go back on the anime, and then you get into like light novels. It's like, you know, kind of, you get older, you kind of cycle.
Yeah.
So unfortunately with that, you end up with like what me and Chavez's struggle is right now, where we're trying to complete older series that we have.
Mhm.
So one notorious example is Pandora's Hearts. I don't know if have you
Yeah.
heard of it, Ryan?
No, Pandora's Heart. I've heard of it. I have
So
never
it's like,
seen or watched anything.
I haven't read it in so long, but it's like it's obviously based off Alice in Wonderland, like the characters, like, you know, you have Cheshire's Cat, you have Mad
Yeah.
Hatter. Um, I can't really recall the story too well, but it's something I really like reading. It was kind of, yeah, it's kind of like you go into like some of these towns, right? Just kind of like the similar to like a Konosuba town or like something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like they're just kind of going through adventure, like rich mansions. I could be butchering this. Has been so long since I read
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna. No, yeah, it's like for Pandora's Hearts. Uh it's kind of like I don't want to say it's like a horror, but at the time it did kind of seem
It's
like it.
pretty. It's like it's on the darker side.
Yeah, it's definitely on the darker spectrum, and like it's basically like, so we have a kid named Oz who's like from like
Yeah.
a rich family.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And you
they
have his
have like coming of age, right? I believe. I mean,
it's like coming of age.
it's been a
Yeah,
long time since
it's
I've
been a
read
long
it too.
time.
Yeah, we're just trying to fucking finish the collection, goddammit. But it's like
um,
he has like a coming of age. Something happens. He gets thrown to like this fucking like dream
oh
world, like super
yeah.
psychedelic. Like, what the fuck's going on?
So he's like turning 16, I think, and he's supposed to take over like the family or something. He's so like, you know how like you have like clans or whatever.
Yeah,
So
because like
he
the setting's kind of old too. Like, what was it? It was like kind of like not medieval, but it's like
like the
kind of like more like
1800s,
1800s, 1700s,
like
kind of.
horse
So it's like
carriages.
Yeah.
Like,
So like
yeah,
Victorian era
fancy-
kind of deal.
Victorian era.
yeah,
Yeah.
Victorian there, exactly, perfect.
Oh yes. Now I
Yeah,
remember. So it's
Victorian.
like a bunch of noble families.
Yeah.
And then so this kid is supposed to, because like the father dies or something, and he's turning 16, and he's supposed to take over the family as like the head person of the clan,
hmm
or of like the noble family that's kind of in charge of like everybody. And then yeah, like I think the plot was like there are some family that's like trying to take over it, so it gets like he gets sucked into like a dark dimension.
I think it was called like the Abyss or some shit.
The abyss, yeah, it was like an abyss. And then yeah, it just kind of goes from there. It's like it's an interesting read. Obviously, we need to reread it because I haven't read it in so long.
Yeah, I mean it finished too. Like I want to say it finished while we were in high school too, like in
Yeah.
Japan. So like it's been quite some time. Only
So
thing I
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like all I remember is that Alice and Echo were best girls, especially Echo. I loved her so much. That's like one of the standouts from fucking. That's how degenerate I am. I'm fucking remembering them from the waifus.
Because like I remember like it got an anime adaptation. I think I watched the first episode and I was all like, exit.
I think animation was it was pretty
Yeah,
shot.
animation wasn't that great, but the story was good from what I remember.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like unfortunate because like I own 15 of the volumes, like 1 to 15, and I'm the type of buyer where like I don't like buying things out of order because like, you know, it kind of looks weird when you're looking at it collection wise.
No, I'm the same way.
Chavez is just like, I'm buying everything I can.
Yeah. I'm like fuck it. Yeah, like I have like
But
I'm almost done, but
unfortunately, Chavez got lucky. I got kind of screwed on this one from the ordering site. But volume 16, somebody was selling it for $18, which is a steal. But we got it from like the UK website. My order got canceled because like I ordered it through like Abe's Books. And then so my order got processed, but I think they ran out. But they ended up processing Chavez's first because he ordered it directly on the website.
yeah.
So
and I got it.
brand new too.
Feels bad. Sad for a meal.
This book, last time I looked, if you're trying to find it, you probably can't find it for less than like $80 to $100.
Yeah, I fucking got away with the runaway high
That's
or
one
runaway
bonus.
robbery.
And
Sheesh.
then, so you have volume 17, 18, 19, and 20, and 21, which are relatively easy to get. And then you have another one, 22, which is like almost impossible to find unless you're willing to like pay lots of
Again,
money for it again.
yeah.
And then the rest of the series is not bad. So that's kind of like the struggles of like being like a resurging manga lover. You're trying to finish your collection, but you find out like certain books are like were limited print or just really hard to find, and then now you're be like, oh, you got to pay like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It's
same
like
thing for
fun.
the light novels, like the Haruhi ones we were talking about. I
Yeah, the
own
OG ones.
the
Shit.
OG paperback. I own 7 out of the 10. I recently was able to buy the disappearance. Is that book 8?
I
Oh no,
believe
no.
so. For the Haruhi
Indignation.
series?
I
Oh
was
no,
able to
yeah,
get
it's
it.
Ignition.
I got Indignation, which cost $18. I was like, okay, fine, that's not bad because it's still kind of retail. The problem now is book 9, the dissociation. If you look it up right now on Abe Books or eBay, you can't find. I think on Abe Books right now, somebody's selling it for $500.
Oof.
And then like the last book, The Surprise of Haruhi Suzumiya, at one point that was going for like $150, $200. It's dropped in price, so I was able to scoop one up for like $30 the other day. So now I'm like literally one book away from like finishing the OG like 10 books. Like they're not even in good condition, most of them. They kind of like have like marker prints on like the top of the pages,
Oof.
and then like
Mm-hmm.
labels. But like this was like early buy. Like you know how like now you can buy like manga, light novels, or whatever on Amazon. You're pretty much guaranteed to be like good condition.
Yeah.
This was like back in the wild west of like manga being sold on like Amazon, where they were getting it. They're probably just like, oh, here we'll send them this library copy, or like, oh, we'll send them like this one that has like weird, like markings on it. And then back then you're kind of like, ah, whatever, I just want it. So
Yeah,
that
it's
was
rough.
it's rough being a manga collector. So
Uh,
that's why I'm in the mindset now. I'm just like quintessential quintuplets. I'm just buying them all now before something like goes out of print
The price shoots up.
and price shoots up.
mm-hmm.
That's why with the Haruhi books, they were re-releasing them, and I've just been on top of it. I was like, I'm just gonna buy all of them. I'm like, whatever. If I own 2 copies of it, cool. I have the OG ones, and I have the new one. So like, that's just cool for me.
Yep. Yeah, I need to do the same. I do need to catch up and fucking
That's
make just the purchases. I'm just gonna make like a big ass bulk order watch after this, and I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm set now. But yeah, for me, manga was shit. Yeah, like it's like Pandora Hearts. I have not completed. I have like Dragon Ball Z. I had a couple One Piece
like
mangoes.
I
It's
technically have
just
the
rough. It's hard.
it's hard. Like because for me it was like, oh, it was cool like getting the physical copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only recently kind of like was reading it like online or like through that media. Because before I was all like, yeah, it was like an experience for me, like physically reading. So like my manga list has actually been shorter. Like I think the only mangas I finished was Negima, Rosario Vampire. I don't know if I finished anything else. I think those might be the only two. Like I mean, I've read like 600 chapters of One Piece and like of all these other ones, but like I really like my manga list is so short compared to like the anime list. You know what I'm talking about?
I feel you. Yeah, I think for mine, it's kind of, or I mean, I consume manga a lot. The only thing though is unfortunately, I don't. I'm not as proactive in purchasing it like I am with light novels or Blu-rays or like kind of the trinkets and stuff like that. Like I finished like Full Metal Alchemist, try to buy the manga, never completed it. Like purchasing to completion. There's like Dragon Ball Z. I read Quintessential Quintuplets, but I never finished, or I never even attempted to actually purchase everything. Um, there's just so many like Rosario Vampire, To Love Ru, um,
JoJo.
fucking JoJo. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Like
there's just so many. That's like it's
I was
hard.
I was that dude. I was like, these guys know I was like hyping off JoJo when I was watching the first 3 parts. I was like, oh my god, JoJo's amazing. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all the manga. I bought the first 3 volumes. I haven't bought anything since then because I'm just all like, and then when you look at it, I'm just all like, English wise, they're only on part 4, like volume like 8 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, damn, there's 8 JoJo parts. These are all hardcover. These all cost about 15 to like $20 each. And just thinking of how many volumes like the later parts have, I was like, I can't. I was like, I'm just reading this online.
Unfortunately, yeah, that is kind of one of the things because, like, since they have to be translated, they need to be edited, and like all the work that goes with taking the mangoes, translating
And
them, everything, and
and
giving it
yeah,
for the English market. Like, there's like we're months behind, or like sometimes like for Harvey, we were like years behind for a hot second. It was like while they were, already in by like surprise and like the intuition, I think, of Harvey, like we were barely getting the like initial
like
like
the first book.
light novels and shit. Yeah, so like it's kind of hard. I mean, now things are starting to get slowly better. Where they're, especially with like how the industry as it grows, as the market grows, because like more and more of like the youth slash like the demographic of its reach is growing. So now because of that, because there's more interest now, like we're starting to get faster releases, kind of.
Yeah, because they're able to make more money off of it, which is like true. It's like they're able to
Mm-hmm.
monetize it easier now, which is good for us because we get more stuff to read.
Yeah, but then it's like
Or media
shit.
press.
Yeah, but it's rough though too, because it's at the same time it's like
Well, like
fuck all the shit I want manga of, but I can't actually keep up with the releases, or like I'll forget, and then when I remember and look back into it, I'm like, oh shit, well, there was only like 1 or 2 volumes out. Now there's like 16. Fuck, and where am I gonna put all this shit? Where's the space?
Yeah, that's true. Space becomes a big thing. It's my thing
I
we can
mean,
talk about.
even like
Yeah.
Ryan, right? Like Ryan's like a big ebook like book walker and whatnot. I'm like, that's cool, but like then again, like you have the same problem. Like, yeah, you're saving physical space, but now you're running out of storage space on
Yeah,
on
but
your devices.
I could buy a freaking
Yeah, that's
SD
true.
card for nothing. Like,
Not back in the day though.
oh, but yeah,
Yeah,
man, but
back
I'm
in
in
the day was
this
a
day. I am
struggle.
today, bro.
We in 2021. Well, yeah, dude, it's like a struggle.
A struggle
Yeah,
that
I
I'm
mean,
happy to have.
yep, for real. Like at least now it's like we like at least now it's like it's readily available too. And I'm pretty sure like now some of them are starting to go digital as well. Like I know for Shonen Jump, I think it's like, is it through like Viz? I'm pretty sure it's
Yep.
Viz who
Yeah,
has it licensed. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you can get like a fucking online like account and read that
Just
shit
read it
digital.
online.
Yeah, so like it's cool. It's cool to see the transition. Who
Yeah,
knows?
less internet.
Maybe do you think maybe anime, or well, anime's already digital, but do you ever think
Yeah.
there'll be an opportunity for manga to go completely digital? Like kind of like how like how like video games are making a transition from kind of like discs to like just digital downloads. Do you think we'll ever see that? Because I
I
mean,
think that there's too
I
much of a culture behind owning a physical copy of manga.
yeah,
maybe not even internationally because I feel like because yeah, obviously here like a mango costs like what 10, 15, 20, depending on like how if it's like a like the size of the
uh,
manga volume.
hmm
But then like
I
you go
think in
to
Japan it's
Japan,
cheaper
it's
though.
like
Yeah,
$3 a volume or $4 a
true,
volume.
very true.
Yeah, like it's easy
And
to
then
get
I feel
manga.
like physical copies, like because I feel like it's more like traditional, so like that's kind of been more of like ingrained into the culture. I
Hmm.
don't think it's gonna go away. Physical copies, I could see internationally slowly drifting to mostly all digital because it's definitely easier for like say like Yen Press or like another company like oh yeah we do translation
Hmm.
if they want to like cut costs like maybe they'll just do it all electronically so because then they don't have to print out books but I feel like there's always going to be like that market of like people who are like
Absolutely.
oh yeah
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love paper copies but I think in the long run it probably is going to become more digital which means I think like unless there's like a certain popularity to it like certain mangas will come out physically but at that point I think it's going to be like the best of the best or like what actually has like a following that like an English one got like made.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
Oh, is there anything else you guys want to address here?
Not really. I think we covered most of the stuff. Like, I feel like we should. I mean, because we could. I mean, there's an infinite number of
Ooh,
manga
yeah.
and light novels and
Yeah.
web comics out there. We could talk forever. I just like it's cool as your guys' friend, kind of hearing like the things that you guys got into and like how it started for like some of the things you grew up with. I know we talked about it in the anime episode, but it's cool hearing like manga because that's how most people are introduced to it. Like
Hmm.
they're at a bookstore and they see
And yeah
something like
it's
that.
like it's kind of interesting too, because like you have like in the community, right? You have like, oh, I'm only a manga reader, or like I'm only an anime reader. But I think like us, right? We're really flexible and we do enjoy like the culture as a whole. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it gives us that like flexibility, right? Like I remember like for example, like Demon Slayer, right? Like it
Yeah.
was so hyped, the anime was amazing. And I was like, oh, I want more. So I just went ahead and read the rest of the manga, and I was like, the story's fantastic, and like now I can wait for the anime, and I was like, hell yeah, and I can just see how it gets anime and just sit for the ride. And I don't gotta worry about like the story. I
Yeah.
was like, I already know. I just get to see how it like comes out, and like maybe the animation will make everything cool. So I think it's like that cool to be not just one sided, to be
Mm-hmm.
open to like all media for it. That's where I'm gonna leave it off. That's my final take on like the
No,
whole like
mine.
manga, light novel, like webtoon, webcomics. Like just have fun with it. Like it's always nice to do something instead of just watching TV all day or watching a computer screen all day. Like it's nice to like actually like read something on paper or even just kind of scrolling through a screen. Like it's like a different form of entertainment, a breath of
Definitely.
Absolutely.
fresh air.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, thank you for tuning into this episode of WeebUwUs. We hope that you kind of got to know us a little bit better, but also picked up some things to check out and read on your own. So yeah, we will see you in the next episode.
Hey guys, Emil here from the WeebUwUs podcast. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode. And if you wanted more of us, come check out the description below. That is where all of our social links will be. Come hang out with us, maybe on Discord, or even check out our Twitter and Instagram. But either way, we'll see you guys at the next WeebUwUs podcast episode. Peace.